Chair recognizes itself for 5 minutes. I want to thank all four of you for being here. Have a lot of questions. I'll submit some of them in writing for the reasons I mentioned earlier. As I mentioned in my opening statement, Houston, Texas, we get half of our economy is based upon the port of Houston, and we are an export port. We send stuff all over the world that goes through our port. So trade is important. Unlike the West Coast, primarily import ports. Ms. Jaime and Ms. Seidewand, I want to start with y'all and then move over to our gentlemen, ladies being first, of course. You've heard all of the comments by all of the witnesses. You've both been here since we started early this morning. You've probably read, when you had time not doing your work in your business, to read the press about Exim Bank and the volatile controversy over it. So my questions will be first to both of you specifically, because you are in the business world and you use Exim Bank. Ms. Jaime, tell me a little bit more about how your business got started in San Antonio.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, my business got started basically by going to Latin America and finding coffees that were specialty graded, which is one of the highest quality in coffee, bringing that coffee into the United States and selling it here in the United States as a micro roaster. Micro roasters, generally they do and roast approximately 20 pounds per batch. And as time developed, we started distributing more to our market in San Antonio, and we dedicated ourselves to do commercial roasting for chefs, restaurants, hospitals. We are not in the retail because the retail is oversaturated. If you go to the grocery stores, you have more than a dozen different labels, of course, of coffees. So it's not a good idea for my business to have my coffee sitting in a shelf in a supermarket where it's not going to be noticeable.
So if there was no Exim Bank, how would that affect your business?
Tremendously.
How? How would it affect you?
It would affect it because I'm not going to be able to grow as quickly and help as many coffee growers as we can when we're exporting.
Would you be able to export if you did not have the Exim Bank?
No.
And how much of the business is export business?
40% of my business right now.
You mentioned in your testimony that Exim helps screen your distributors in foreign countries to make sure you're not working with criminals. What does that mean?
Well, basically it means that when we have a submission from a distributor overseas, they give us their information. We send that to the Exim Bank. The Exim Bank checks to make sure that there is no problems with their payments, that they have a good record of being an international distributor, if they have a history of doing any business with any manufacturer in the United States. And once we get that information back to us, then we can negotiate better with that distributor. If they have never had a history of doing business in the United States, then we're not going to be able to offer them any kind of payment terms, and they're going to have to pay for that order up front.
You mentioned that your business helps stop illegal immigration. How in the world does your business help stop illegal immigration?
In the majority of the countries that coffee is grown, the coffee grower is very poor and is very limited in the resources they have. It's countless and countless the times that every year that I go to the Latin American countries, I find coffee growers that say, please represent us well, ma'am. Please sell our product well and pay us well so that I don't have to leave my country, my family, and have to go and work in the United States illegally.
All right, Ms. Seidewand, same line of questioning for you. I'll try to move as quick as I can. If you don't have Exim, how does that affect your Boston, Houston business? Microphone.
It is interesting how it crosses between both of you gentlemen. Really what it means for us is no growth. Really in the United States, when housing did crash, there was also a lot of consolidation of U.S. customers. A lot of manufacturers started to consolidate. They were bought by global conglomerates. So the U.S. market and manufacturing actually shrunk, which is where we would sell into. So the market isn't even still the same as it isn't the same now as it was then. And really it wouldn't eliminate exports, but it would far reduce them and make them much less attractive because we really couldn't compete. We just wouldn't have the financing to offer terms. When I buy from U.S. producers, they give me 30 to 60 days terms. I need time to actually export, prepare, and sell those exports. And then I have to compete on terms. I need potentially 60 to 120 days of working capital financing, which if your line is being held and it's not large enough because you can't lend against enough of your inventory and receivables, you just don't have enough capacity to.
So why not go to Bank of America and get those 120-day time limits as opposed to 30 to 60?
So LCs are wonderful. If I could do every single customer on a documentary letter of credit that came directly to me and was all the terms that I wanted, then I would do every one. But in certain areas, especially Latin America, as I'm sure she knows, LCs are not something that they're able to do. Many countries.
The banks won't do those.
They won't do them.
American banks won't do those.
No, the local banks there, the customers won't actually open an LC for them. And if they do, it could cost as much as 30 or 40%. They're just don't make sense in a commodity market.
Okay. Thank you. My time has expired. I'll yield to the gentleman from Boston, Massachusetts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to just follow a couple of threads. One with you, Ms. Seidewand. You mentioned about what other international areas, other countries actually, are offering in terms of some of the financial terms that that you need. So you're competing against them. Can you tell us? You mentioned Asia generally. Can you tell us what countries and what they're doing that makes it so hard for you to compete?
So the loudest one I would say would probably be from the trading companies in Japan, where their lending rates are so low that they are able to offer terms that far outweigh what I can compete with. I may have the same price because we have competitive products coming out of the United States, offer a service. We're maybe even offering the same types of products from the United States, but oftentimes they're also offering them and 4 other countries worth of products, but they can do so maybe doubling my terms. They consistently extend. And so if I can't compete with that, I'm not able to offer that to those customers on a long-term basis.
So it just gives you a level playing field.
Absolutely. Absolutely.